You aren't a beginner with emotions. You don't need help figuring out what you're feeling. You even know your patterns, why you react the way that you do. You can trace those patterns back to childhood, to this or that trauma. In short, you are a self-aware person. And yet, knowing yourself well enough doesn't always mean that knowledge is available to you when you need it the most. So in the heat of the moment, when you're hot and bothered, when you're having a disagreement with your partner, when you feel disrespected by your coworker, when your mom oversteps your boundary, when you're grieving the relationship that just ended and feeling confused about it, in those moments, you don't actually know what to do with the emotion while you're feeling it. Maybe you blank or shut down when you're upset and it feels like you fumble the emotion in the moment. When that keeps happening, it's very easy to assume the problem must be something you still don't understand about yourself. And because of that, you tell yourself, oh, I must be bad at emotions. Maybe I'm too emotional. Maybe I need to feel my feelings more, reflect more, do more introspection, maybe another round of coaching or therapy. You put the blame on yourself that maybe you're lacking the internal awareness to understand the emotions that you're feeling. That if you just gathered one more piece of self-awareness, that it will somehow all fit together and you'll finally understand what to do with the emotion while it's rocking you. But more information cannot automatically perform that skill for you. Because there is a difference between being aware of your emotions and having the skills to walk yourself through them on the spot. Of having the self-awareness to recognize your patterns and knowing what to do when feelings hit the fan and how to break that pattern in the moment. But are you already self-aware enough? You may not know everything about yourself yet. Nobody does. But you might already know enough to recognize that the next breakthrough is not another explanation. It is learning what to do with the emotion while you are still feeling it. Here are 10 signs that you have reached that point. Sign number 1, you know when you feel off. You know when something is off for you, more or less right away. You're aware when you're upset. You're aware of the internal shift. Wait a second, twist in the stomach, that inner red flag waving. You consciously know that something outside of you has just triggered an emotional reaction inside of you. Again, you might not be perfectly precise all of the time about knowing why it's there, but you have a good sense of when your internal state has emotionally shifted. Noticing that shift is the first layer. The next is being able to put some language around it. Sign number 2, you can name your emotions. You can already pinpoint which emotion you're feeling. You know when you're angry, when you're sad, when you're resentful, when you're jealous, when you're disappointed. You might not be perfect at it or be able to name the emotion with PhD precision, but you can more or less call your emotions as you see them. Giving them a name is something that is no longer challenging for you. And for many self-aware people, the understanding goes much deeper than just being able to name the emotion. Sign number 3, you understand how your childhood impacted you. You are someone that has a decent awareness of how your childhood shaped you and impacted who you are today. You've taken the time and the effort to look into your past and have asked yourself the question, why am I the way that I am? What experiences shaped me into who I am today? What happened in the past that's still currently contributing to my current day reactions, to how I relate to people emotionally? You might not have done 20 years of therapy unpacking childhood, but you've traced your steps backwards and you've unpacked those high impact emotional moments. But awareness isn't only knowing where the pattern came from. Awareness is also about the person you're trying to be today, which brings us to sign number 4. You actually want to respond well. When confronted with a tough emotion, you genuinely want to choose the next healthiest step for yourself. You want to choose the most emotionally intelligent response. You want to be someone who can more or less stay grounded even in the face of uncomfortable emotions. Yet you're not always sure how to proceed, what to say, what to do, what would be best for you in that moment. The desire really is there, but the next step always isn't. The most frustrating part is that you usually do figure out what would have helped, just not until later. Sign number 5, you understand yourself later. One of the things that you're skilled at is that you can understand your patterns and reactions, but only after the fact that the emotional moment has passed. It takes you time to be able to look back in hindsight and know exactly why you reacted a certain way, why their words triggered you like that, what would have actually been helpful to express in the moment. But you're only able to come to these findings after time has passed, after you've had the time to go be by yourself, calm down, have a good think about it, then the clarity can come. You do have the ability to get yourself to the realization, but you rely exclusively on journaling, hindsight, or alone time to find that clarity. And when that clarity isn't accessible on your own in that moment that you're looking for it, you may naturally start looking outside of yourself for help reaching it, which leads us to sign number 6. You need someone else to guide you. You require someone or something outside of yourself to find the answers. You might have a lot of conversations with ChatGPT, unpacking emotional moments to help you figure out what to do next. And it gives you great advice once the moment has passed. Or you call your ride or die to discuss the upset and to get their thoughts about it because you're not sure how to proceed on your own. You're excellent at seeking out help to support you to clarity, but it's one of the only ways you can actually get there. And when another person isn't available, you may try to create that clarity by thinking your way or writing your way toward it. Sign number 7. Journaling feels like circles. When you journal or think about the moment, you feel like you're going in circles. It can turn into overthinking or ruminating or spiraling because while you may feel justified or validated in your reaction, you're just unsure of where to go from there. So you keep trying to come up with solutions, but then you loop back to the beginning of not knowing what's best for yourself or what's needed now. You might get certain insights and the journaling might actually help you release some of those emotions. Yet how to move forward feels like a big question mark. Sometimes you do eventually arrive at an explanation, but an important question is whether that explanation actually changes things for you. Sign number 8, you don't feel better after you figured things out. Another sign that you've pretty much maxed out your self-awareness is when you don't really feel better even when you understand the moment in hindsight. You've unpacked it, you've figured it out, you've had the realizations and the aha perspective shifts, and yet you don't really feel better. You just have more information about the moment, but not what to do in the moment. And after gathering insight without experiencing much movement, the idea of doing even more reflection can start to feel exhausting rather than hopeful. Sign number 9, more therapy feels heavy. You've done a lot of reflecting on what's bothering you. And when you think to yourself, maybe I just need another round of therapy, that thought just feels like a burden. In the back of your mind, there's a part of you that doesn't trust that it's actually going to be productive. I am in no way saying that you shouldn't see a therapist. I'm an advocate for therapy, and I advise everybody watching this to please seek the support of a licensed mental health professional when needed. Now, in the context of what we're talking about in this video, once you've done therapy to the point that you feel like you're going back, rehashing historic details, and it no longer feels supportive for the here and now, then at this point, it's not about feeling your feelings from age 4 again. If you've ever thought to yourself, I've already been over this, I want to know what to do now, that is the biggest sign that you're ready for more skills, not more self-awareness. And that brings us to maybe the clearest sign of all. The knowledge exists, but you cannot reliably access it when the emotional pressure is on. Sign number 10, your knowledge disappears in the moment. You've read the books, listened to the podcasts. You consume a lot of self-help content. You might be somebody who genuinely likes personal development and building your emotional intelligence. You want to be a better person. You like to grow and learn and seek out information that will help you become an improved version of yourself. Yet when it comes down to it in the spicy moments, all that knowledge that you've gathered seems to go right out the window. So when you step back and look at all of these signs all together, they tell a very different story than I'm bad at emotions. If you resonate with at least half of these signs, You're officially a self-aware person. Not finished learning about yourself necessarily, but self-aware enough to know that a lack of insight is no longer the thing that is keeping you stuck. What may be missing is not more information about yourself, but a way to use what you already know. That is where emotional skills come in. The next step is about figuring out where you can strengthen your emotional skills and what skills specifically will support you during those moments so that you can address them while the emotion is still hot and happening, so that you don't need to spend your precious time and energy figuring out something in hindsight when you could have worked through it in real time. And because different people get stuck at different points in this process, the next step is figuring out what skill you personally need to address next. I'm Holly Soulier. I've been an emotional health educator for 7 years now, and I have created a free emotional skill gap quiz to help you pinpoint which emotion skill you're personally ready to strengthen. You can find that link here or in the description below. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and take the quiz. Because in the next videos, I'm going to be breaking down the emotional skills that help you work through what you're feeling while it's still happening. The goal isn't to know yourself perfectly, it's to be able to support yourself in the tough moments.